Okay. All right, y'all. All right, y'all. Much love, joy, peace, harmony, and balance to all. This is your host here, Leo Lights, and I thank you for tuning in to Awoken Minds. In this little short video, I'm talking about labeling less and recognize energy more. See, we all have a tendency to label things in order for us to distinguish what we're talking about. It's our way of communicating. But before we was even communicating with these vocals that we are using, we communicated through the mind, and then eventually it started to phase out where we started communicating with sound like whoo, ha, whoo. I mean, I'm just giving examples. Like we started communicating, like they say, like one of the earliest forms of sound communication was us imitating nature, such as the wind and the birds and whatnot. And then eventually, over time, it evolved into us like distinguishing words, and well, it was symbols. And then after that comes words, and you got just all your letters that put these words together. Then you got all different kinds of languages that are spoken vocally that has words and letters, and some even have symbols. Like Arabic, for example, has those little squig. I don't know what they call them. Y'all might laugh at me, but had those little squiggly lines on top of some of the cursive looking Arabic writing. And then you got the Japanese symbols for writing. Then you got the Chinese symbols for writing. Well, Mandarin. So now when we label things, we really are trying to communicate, because that's how we were brought up. That's just us. That's our way of communicating, to distinguish what we're seeing, what we're experiencing, who we're talking about, such and such, such and such. Well, in that kind of instance, that is okay, but we tend to use it in judging ways when it comes to describing somebody, which it could be hurtful when we really come at a judgmental way. So what I'm trying to say is, like, we should really start to meditate more and really open up our psyche, where we can start the basics and communicate through the mind again, and get away from the labeling. And really, I feel this can advance us as a civilization as well, because it's like, I feel like civilization already was advanced. It's just, I feel like, honestly, we went backwards and we're trying to work our way up. So the other thing is, when I say recognize energy, because when you recognize energy, this is how you really can communicate using telepathy, and how you can sense people's orc feels, and how they're feeling, and what they're thinking, and what's going on with them. So like when we recognize energy, we recognize everything, because even this sound is energy. Even us writing the letter A and B and C, that is energy. We write in energy. That's all it is. So once we really recognize energy, we can step away from labeling things, and stop really judging things for the negative outcome, if that makes sense. So I feel like we all should take some time and recognize energy, meditate, recognize ourselves, because the first thing we can do is recognize our own energy. Then we can recognize energy around us. But I tend to find my way in life where I do judge, and I do judge. I mean, either good, sometimes I judge bad, or I might just be picking up somebody's energy as well. But I feel like we get too caught up in the labeling. He's fat, she's fat, she ain't no good, or he ain't no good, or that food was nasty. Like they label it as a burger. You know what I mean? Like, why do we label these things? There was a guy, buddy of mine, a long time ago. I said, man, yeah, I used to have this. Sometimes I used to get a little prejudice towards certain ethnicities and stuff like in that nature. He said something to me. He's like, man, it's not a black, white, yellow, red, or a thing for me, at all. I judge. Feel people by their energy. So if their energy feel good, they're good people. If it don't, I just can't resonate with them. And I feel like they're not as good people for me at this moment. And that stuck with me. That really stuck with me. Like, I'm like, wow. So that's how we can step away from these prejudices we have, from these negative judgments that we have, from labeling things and calling people out, just calling them bad names. And like, this is how we really can step away from this, I want to call it this primitive backwards language, and step into the full potential of our power that we weren't taught in school, weren't taught by our parents. I mean, if we were taught by our parents, some of us probably are being taught by our parents, which is good. But for my instance, I wasn't taught all this by my parents. I was taught this by doing the research and listening to other people. But I feel like once we recognize energy, we recognize everything. So instead of labeling, how about we just recognize energy more and label less? So thank you for tuning in. If you like this, like, share, subscribe, comment. And products and services, www.facebook.com/leolights with a Z. Instagram, Awoken Minds 2018. And my podcast is Anchor.fm/leolights. Check it out. I'll be on there too. I do a lot of things. And also, if you guys have any questions about your energy, questions about your spiritual journey, crystals, tarot cards, whatever it is, there's a very high percentage I have an answer for. I'm a messenger. I get messages from the high realms and I bring them down here to the lower realms. And I use the lower realm information that I obtain from some of the resources I get and use it to my benefits to connect to the higher realm. It's all a cycle. It's all a rhythm. It's all a process. So take care. Peace. Let's see.